Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve, and once again, as promised, we are back. This time we are using a Stamina Necromancer. I actually had a request in the YouTube on my Stam Templar build that I just put up about a Stam Necro, and I was happy to give this a run through right here because this was one of my favorite tunes for the longest time, and then the Necros have kind of been basically, you know, pieced out for a while. They're not in the best place right now, especially when compared to other classes in this game. But I put this together. It is a 100k hitting build, and that's nice to see because I haven't seen this Necromancer hit 100k in a while. This isn't the type of build that I like to run on my Necromancer. I was always a big fan of the two hand. I loved Wrecking Blows. I loved Executioner, and that stuff was always fun to me. But this is very cookie cutter to what we've seen with the other Stam tunes that we've done. To get into it, go into our character sheet when we are fully buffed up here. We got 13k in Magicka, 21k in health, 30k in stamina, 1700 in stamina recovery, 5687 weapon damage, 50.4% weapon critical, small penetration with only 700, and physical and spell resistances when the armor is active. It just fell off a second ago, but those were at 19,000, and now they are at 13,000. But once again, with the armor on, 19,823 on both of them. We do have all 64 of our points into our stamina for maximum stamina. This build we are using Lavafoot Soup and Saltreese. This is a max stamina, max recovery food. Very good for parsing. Have not really tested this build with the Bewitched Sugar Skulls or anything that's like a max tri-stat food or whatnot. I'm sure it is manageable and able to be done. I just haven't messed with it yet. But I'm sure there's things that you can do to it to make it usable. We are using a Thief Mundustone for our weapon and spell critical rating. Inventory, like I said, cookie cutter. Everything's the same as what we've seen with the last couple Stam tunes. We got a Maelstrom Perfected Greatsword. This is infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment. We are using on the front bar Aegis Collar. We got a Nirnhone Dagger with flame damage enchantment. We have a charged dagger with weapon damage, or I'm sorry, poison damage enchantment. All of our jewelry is in Bloodthirsty with weapon and spell damage glyphs on it. They're all Aegis Collar as well. Aegis Collar, once again, is a medium armor set that's found in Unhallowed Grave. If you're not familiar with it, it adds 2 lines of weapon and spell damage, a line of critical chance, and when you deal critical martial melee damage, an Aegis comes out and just spins his little heart out and just applies a lot of bleed damage over 12 seconds. Or it can happen once every 12 seconds. He comes out for 11 seconds, and after 2.5 seconds, he starts spinning. So you get 8.5 seconds of uptime of him spinning, 2,761 bleed damage every second. So decent damage on this. Crit's really big, honestly. We are using Reliquin. This is a medium armor set from Cloud Rest. It is 2 lines of weapon critical, a line of major slayer, and light attacks and heavy attacks put harmful winds on the on whatever you have attacked, and it can stack up to 10 times. So this is as long as you're good at light attack weaving, this is a very damage heavy ability, or damage heavy set, as long as you keep those light attack weaves up. If you're not good at light attack weaving, as we said before with the other Stam builds, we can go with the Anzel's Torment out of Sanity's Edge, which gives a flat 7% increased damage, and then if you interrupt something, you get another 7% on top of that for 10 seconds. Very situational, but once again, not and it doesn't have proc conditions. Uh, you can also go with the oh, oh man, I just drew a blank on it. Coral Riptide. Coral Riptide out of Dreadsail Reef. It is 5-piece bonus on it is the lower your maximum stamina is, the more weapon and spell damage it provides for you. With the max being 740 weapon and spell damage at 33%. So, once again, if you don't mind playing that stamina game by keeping your stamina right around that 33% range to get that maximum benefit all the time, then this probably that more than likely will outperform the Reliquins. I don't like playing that game, so the Reliquins works good for me because I can rotate very well. Either or any of the three, very good options. If you are a just starting out and you don't have access to trials or anything like that, or you don't like trials in general and you're just looking for something that helps you deal damage, does damage for you while you're learning to rotate and learning to do damage, Pillars of Nirn is very good for this build. It You can wear that on the body instead of the Reliquin, and its proc condition is when you do damage. It procs, so it won't be as high a DPS totals as any of the trial sets that we just talked about, but it will still be good enough damage to get by until you can get the better equipment. We are using Zaun's Head and Shoulders here. The head can be found in Scale Color Peak on Vet for completing Veteran, and Chief Uglabar, or whatever her name is, the Orc Undaunted girl, uh, can be where you purchase the coffers to get the shoulders out of. This set right here is really nice because it's one line of critical chance, and then when you deal critical damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to tether an enemy for 10 seconds. It does 842 damage every 1 second, anything you're tethered to, and anything standing in the tether as well. So you can move around and catch other stuff with this ability. And it'll take that damage every second, and the damage tick will increase by 100% each second as well. It also applies the burning status effect, so every tick inflicts the burning status effect. So every time this thing ticks, it resets that burning status effect. So you get 10 seconds of this damage going off, plus a total of 14 seconds worth of burning status effect going off as well. So it's really high damage. Uh, if you don't have access to this, or you're not good at light and heavy attack weaving, you can go with like Stormfist out of Tempest Island, which is just a 10% chance when you deal damage, which doesn't sound like much, but for as much damage you're able to deal, it's going to go off a lot still, regardless. It'll lag behind a little bit on the damage output, but it's definitely a little more user friendly if you're not good at light attack weaving. All of our all of our body pieces are in divines. Everything is in medium except we have I have a heavy shoulder. This should be light, but I just haven't changed it at this point because I'm not trying to use up any more of my transmute crystals than I already have at this point. Uh, so everything's in divines. We are wearing 6 medium and 1 heavy. It should be 6 medium, 1 light. Everything has the max stamina enchantment on it as well. We get into our champion tree, red and blue, do your own thing. Or red and green, do your own thing. Blue, make sure you fill in, as always, all of your passives that are don't require to be slotted. Get those filled in when you can. But you definitely want to have Wrathful Strikes, Deadly Aim, and Master at Arms, all 3 of these slotted. The 4th one is kind of a flex spot. I like to go with Untamed Aggression. If you're not close to the crit cap in an unoptimized group, you can always go with Fighting Finesse or Backstabber. Just know situationally you need to be flanking for Backstabber, and it's only 2% more damage, where this is Stand Anywhere and 8% damage. So 10% to stand flanking or behind, 8% to stand wherever. So also, another good option, as we went over before, is Exploiter. If you got somebody in the group providing off balance for you, and you like, you can be pretty good with like burst damage and whatnot. This is a great option for being able to burst through when those off balance times are up. So dropping ultimates and making sure that you're bursting as much as possible during that off balance stage to you know optimize how much damage you can properly do. I like using the Untamed Aggression, and if I'm in 4-man content, I'll normally switch it over here to the Fighting Finesse. Skills, little bit different than some of the other stuff we've seen. First off, we are still using our Stampede, which triggers our Maelstrom weapon. We are using Skeletal Archer. This is a nice little ability that's 20 seconds worth of damage every 2 seconds. Starts off at 1900 damage, and each tick the archer deals in damage, its next attack does 15% more than the previous attack. So you want to make sure that you're not reapplying this until you're almost until it has fallen off or it's really close to falling off, so you're getting the most damage potential out of it. I do have Detonating Siphon on here. This requires a corpse. There has to be a corpse on the ground, but this is just it's a free. This doesn't cost you anything to do. It is just, if there's a corpse on the ground, you can tether to it, and then it's, 18,000 damage over 20 seconds for absolutely zero cost. No resources, no nothing. When it explodes, it deals disease damage as well. So and it'll explode when it expires or when you reapply it. So reapplying it before it explodes, before it falls off, still creates the disease explosion for everything in the area. So you don't have to necessarily let this one run off. You can just reapply it, and the explosion still happens. Plus, while it's slotted, your damage is increased by 3%. I keep beckoning armor here. This is one we just talked about. It's our major resolve and pulls everything to us. It's once every 2 seconds, not 3 seconds. This creates a corpse when the ability goes away. I got necrotic potency on here. This is just for consuming souls, corpses. You gain 6 ultimate, and you get a 932 health every 1 second, every 1 second for 2 seconds for each corpse that you ingest that way. The ability scales off your max health, so it's not a huge heal by any means. While slotted, your damage taken is reduced by 3%. If you change this over to the other morph of this, I can't remember what the name of this is. This is Bitter Harvest, and then I morphed it to Necrotic Potency. I can't remember what the other one was, but it provides you with less ultimate when you consume a corpse, but it also provides major protection. So it could be nice to help keep yourself upright, keep yourself on your feet. On our front bar, we are using Rapid Strikes. This is just too good of a damage dealing ability to not use, plain and simple. We are using Blast Bones. We're not calling these out a whole lot, to be honest with you, though. We're calling them about twice every rotation, mainly just for the damage off off of one, and the corpse it's going to create off the second one. I am using Rending Slashes here. This is a bleed damage over time ability that also inflicts hemorrhaging and reduces movement speed by 30%. This does good damage, especially with the dual wield passive Slaughter. Increase the damage of your dual wield abilities by 20% against enemies under 25% health. So it's got like kind of a small little execute factor built into it as well. So it's good for that there also. Barb Trap. This also provides hemorrhaging. It is a bleed damage and bleed damage over time. and provides us with minor force, which is 10% more increased critical damage. Done. I keep Expert Hunter on my bar here. This is uh, basically for the weapon and spell critical. It is my pots also give me my weapon and spell critical right now, but I still like having this here just so it's active in like trash mob fights when I'm not really hitting a pot. And I'm keeping it here for the Slayer Fighters Guild passive for the extra weapon and spell damage. Flawless Dawnbreaker, this is going to be here for the extra weapon and spell damage from the Fighters Guild Slayer perk as well. But during, like, when I'm parsing on the 21 million, this is actually the ultimate I use because it gives us a little bit more than the Colossus does. I forgot to tell you we have the Glacial Colossus on the front bar. This is the Hulk Smash ability right here. It provides major vulnerability for, this says right now it's 17 seconds. I think it goes up even more when it's morphed. I just morphed this not too long ago, to be honest with you. But this is going to be the Colossus is going to be the ultimate that we're using in content. But because the trial dummy already has major vulnerability applied to it 100% of the time, we lose a lot of what this is capable of doing to the trial dummy other than just the straight damage aspect. Where the Flawless Dawnbreaker, it's going to do damage, it'll do damage over time, and it'll also give us 300 in weapon and spell damage for 20 seconds as well. So this is a little bit better numbers on the trial dummy, so to speak, but in content, you're going to be using the Colossus. We are going to have all of our class passives slotted, all of our two-hand passives slotted, dual-wield passives slotted. I have all my light, medium, and heavy armor, except for a couple of the heavy right there that don't really matter much, but definitely you want all of your medium, so you're getting your medium armor bonuses. Fighters Guild, I have all the passives except Bounty Hunter because I don't go into Cyrodiil. Undaunted, I have all the Undaunted passives. I have all of my racial passives, and I also have my medicinal use for alchemy. This rotation is very static, not quite as simple as what we've shown in the past, or especially with the Templar that I just had just put up there 2-3 days ago. But the rotation is very simple. I'm going to make sure that I call one of Blast Bones first and foremost and set my trap. Then I'm going to bar swap. I'm going to use my charge. I'm going to call out my archer. And by this time, that Blast Bones, as long as I'm close enough when I call it out, it's going to have hit and exploded and created a corpse so that I can create my first tether. And then I will bar swap. I will call out a Blast Bone. I will use my Rending Slashes. And then I will literally just rapid strike continuously until I watch the little timer bar for my critical charge to when I see the timer bar, because it'll be right above the rapid strikes bar to let you know like there's a countdown on that ability. When that one goes completely away and it's gone, I will throw out a Blast Bone, I will lay down a trap, I will bar swap and start all over. So I mean it sounds kind of complicated. It's really not once you kind of get into it, but I'm going to drop ultimates on when they're available, and just kind of follow that rotation that I said. So charge, and then the archer, and I'm sorry, Blast Bone first, then set my trap. Then I'm going to bar swap. It's going to be charge, archer, tether, Blast Bone, Rending Strikes, and then we are going to spam rapid strikes until the critical charge has fallen off. We'll throw out a blast bone, we will throw down our trap again, bar swap, and start it all over. So just to give you an idea of what it looks like, uh, this is going to be what our rotation looks like right here. So blast bone, trap, bar swap, and start. And I got ultimate immediately, so I'll throw that up. Another blast bone. And here we go, just mashing. Just light attack, rapid strike, light attack, rapid strike. Now it fell off. The blast bone, trap, bar swap, start over. And here we go again. That little timer bar is about to go off. There it goes. Blast bone, trap, bar swap, start over. Be sure we're hitting our pots like I just did there. Timer's about to go off. Now blast bone, trap, swap, start over. And we're going to drop ultimate again. Okay, so that right there was 43,826. Yeah, I mean, that might not seem like a lot to some people, but please understand, like just like we have went over before, our penetration is 700. That's it. We are 18,000 behind in penetration right now. So with a tank and other other things going on that provide you know uh, provide a break in resistances and whatnot, this build only gets stronger, obviously. Also, right here is the Trial parse that I did, 102,700. A little bit over 100k. It's not huge. It's some people are definitely hitting harder, even with this class and other classes. But I try to make things as simple as possible, I guess you could say. There's not a whole lot of simplicity to this rotation, but once you get the hang of it, it kind of really is, to be honest with you, because it's just laying down dots and then just spamming. It's just the order that you lay them down in, it really gives you that ability to just spam, 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 and then bar swap off and start over again. So I mean, I try to make it as simple as possible when it comes to the rotations. Obviously, this one isn't super simple, but it's not like dynamic by any means where you're bar swapping using one ability, bar swapping using another ability. Like people that can do that, those guys and girls, they got it going on. Like they have far more patience for this than I do. I like keeping things as static as possible. That's why people do get better numbers than me, but I really don't care. Like, I'm not here to set world records. I'm just here to clear content. Uh, I'd like to also take a quick moment and tell you why I am actually looking forward to seeing this build on update 41. And that's because a lot of the status effect things that are coming out and changing. I think this build has a really good possibility of shining even brighter at that point, because Blast Bones is supposed to be getting a rework, or we might be using the Magicka version of it, which will, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look it up. I don't keep up with this stuff as much as possible, but I think the new Magicka morph of Blast Bones, unless they've changed it since I've heard this, it's going to give you a buff on damage done, I think, with um, class abilities, which, if that's the case, we'll be switching to the Magicka version of this to get the buff from that for the Blast Bones itself, for the Archer, and for the Tether. So that's possibly a damage increase right there. Where I'm really excited about this is because the status effects. Obviously, the burning status effect is insane with this build. I got I got the flame damage on one of the daggers. I have the Zon going off, so the amount of burning damage that we do with this build is already really good. Now we're going to pair that with the amount of poison damage that's going to be happening come update 41 because of the poison damage status effect, um, having that execute like ability to it, doing more damage the lower health something is. That's going to be very strong and very powerful. And with the charge dagger and that in two different, I'll have the rending slashes and the rapid strikes both going off. So we should be, seeing that poison status effect going off and staying up a good amount of time, which that's going to be good because if it's got that execute factor to it, the more lower health they are, the more damage it's doing. So that's amazing. Also, the hemorrhaging status effect is changing. Last I heard, I haven't kept up with this. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. You can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I know that the hemorrhaging status effect is being nerfed down a little bit from its original damage amount. But it now has the ability to stack, and it can stack up to 3 times. Um, with one stack, it's going to be less than it was. With 2 stacks, it's going to be right in line with the same amount of damage that the uh, burning status effect is doing. And with another stack, it's supposed to be even higher. Um, a lot of people are talking about how hard it's going to be to get to those 3 stacks and keep it up all the time, and I'm sure that's correct, to be honest with you. But with this build, we're going to have the barb trap, which already helps apply hemorrhaging. We're going to have the rending slashes, which also initial hit always applies hemorrhaging. Our Aegis spins and does bleed damage. That has a chance to produce to create hemorrhaging. So I think we'll be able to. I know this is my speculation because I have not attempted to test this on the PTS, but I think that obviously 1 stack of hemorrhage is going to happen. I think we're going to see 2 stacks of hemorrhage on a fairly regular basis, and we might even be lucky enough to get to that 3 stacks every now and again with everything going off the way that it does. And with that being said, I think that, between the poison damage getting better, the burning damage that we already have on this, and the hemorrhaging damage being able to be possibly in line with the burning status effect just as often as the burning status effect with this build, I think this build will pick up power or pick up damage when all this happens. Now, maybe I'm wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, but I probably won't know until the patch hits the console because I have not jumped on the PTS in a while. I like my PC is always being used by my kids. I don't get much of a chance to actually jump on there and try it out. If I do get a chance, I am going to get on there and try it out because I want to see for myself exactly what it can do. But I'm excited to see what it can do, period. But that is all I got for you guys. Sorry for making it long-winded. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. If you like what you see, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be trying to do more videos more often. I've got a nice little setup for myself here where I can actually sit down and do these and edit these and get them out at a pretty decent fashion. And I think my quality is, for being on PlayStation and not using a computer to record everything with, I think my quality is pretty nice in this aspect. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Please give us a like, a subscribe if you would, if you've liked what you've seen. But that is literally all I got for you. Thank you very much for everyone watching and whatnot. We've had comments and whatnot in the last couple videos. I encourage anybody that has questions to go ahead and go ahead and ask. Like I'll be very active in there if I can, and a lot of times I have the ability to be able to do so. But once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it greatly, and happy adventuring.